I realized we were behind the curve in our self-storage business when Extra Space opened up a facility in one of our submarkets. We had a facility that had been enjoying over 95% occupancy year after year. And then when Extra Space opened up a brand new facility that was in lease up, our move out stayed the same, but our move in started slowing down. Let me share with you how we addressed it. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer. The Storage World Analyzer is a financial analysis tool specifically designed for the self-storage industry. If you're interested in learning more about that, go to creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com and hit Storage World Analyzer, or go straight to storageworldanalyzer.com. And I realized we were behind the curve in our business. Extra Space was eating our lunch in terms of getting the new potential clients that were in our submarket that wanted self-storage space. The clients that used to come to us so easily were now going there. It seemed like every day the offers were changing. It was hard to keep up. I rented a unit in there and got access to the facility, walked around, saw what they were doing. But what I realized is they were like a step ahead of us. They knew everything we were doing, and they would meet it or beat it. And the internet customers that used to come to us were calling them first. So what did we do? Well, first of all, we started an online marketing campaign like what we talked about in episodes 147 through 150. If you haven't watched them, those are some of the techniques that we use to begin to increase our presence online and get our offers in front of our competition's offers. But what I realized was that yes, there is a gap between how the REITs now function and how smaller companies like us now function. And I decided to close that gap. What I did is I went on a hunt for what companies like ours could do to operate at the level that these big guys are operating with their data analytics software. And I came across a company called Veritech, and I started really studying them hard. Now what we did is we signed a contract with them, and now all our facilities have their software. And what it allows us to do is it allows us to look into our submarket, not quite in live time, but almost in live time. And I can see what all of our competition around each one of our facilities is doing, what their offers are, what their specials are. I see when it was last updated. This program will reach out in a number of ways, bring in the current pricing structure and offers that are being offered. And what's real important about, I could literally use that program to adjust our pricing day by day if I wanted to do demand pricing. I know exactly where our pricing is in that day, today, in relation to the submarket, whether I'm below average, above average, or exactly average for each one of our price points. I can see what everyone's offering. But what it does is it allows us to talk with our managers, or start talking. We're instituting this now and doing a lot of training with it, but we can start telling our managers, here's today, when you get a phone call from someone that's asking for a 10 by 10, here's what's going on in the facilities around you. Extra Space is offering first month free, half off the second month, and their price point is $129. And I can tell them exactly what each one of the competition is doing so that our managers can talk on the phone and know what to say to get that customer in. For example, if that customer looks like they're going to need a 10 by 10 and it looks like they're going to be a short-term stay, 3 months or less, then our managers will know to offer a special that will equal or beat that to get them in. Also, if it's a long-term play, our managers know what to say to that in terms of how our competition generally gives multiple price increases in a 6-month period. So, and we'll lock their rate in if they'll come in and look at our facility today. There's many ways to counter it, but if you know what your competition is doing, then you know what to say to a customer that calls on the phone. So what my mission is, and a lot of the reason we do these episodes, is to close that gap between how the larger players operate and the smaller players operate. So I want to, again, in the next few episodes, we want to talk about different techniques, different software, different ways to close that gap. I could literally, if we decided to do demand pricing. 2 episodes from now, we're going to talk about demand pricing as a pricing model. But when you're armed with this kind of data, and you can begin to play at a totally different level. Yes, there's a learning curve. Yes, you've got to figure out the best way to deploy and use the data that you're getting. You will make some mistakes doing it, but it's critical that as a business owner in today's environment, especially if you're in larger markets where there are REITs and large players, if you don't change and evolve with the industry, your company soon could become irrelevant. Now, I asked you last week to come to this episode with where your pricing is in comparison to your competition. Now, I wanted to do that to see how you, not so much where you are, but how you got that data. With some software, operating software, it's fairly easy, but managers need to be updating it and reaching out and getting information. Mostly what we did is our managers used to call the other managers, ask what's going on, try to get some intelligence. Usually most managers, for whatever reason, at our competition, almost always freely gave our managers the data, what they're charging, what their occupancy is. We will still do that, but we no longer need to count on that. We can see day by day what the competition is doing. So I invite you to begin to explore how you, whether you're using this type of software or some other method, how you can get the data you need to compete effectively in the self-storage business landscape that this industry is becoming. And as you learn to operate in this new environment and learn to work with the new tools and data analytic tools that are out there, you will close that gap between how the big players operate and how the small players operate. And for this year, for our company, that's my mission. I have about 3 goals. The number 1 goal is to close the gap in our operations between how we operate and how the big players operate. And I invite you to join me on that mission this year. So next week, I'm going to talk about a new pricing structure called value pricing that we're beginning to employ. I'll share with you how it's affected other companies that we've studied and why we're employing it, and then you can decide if it's something that you want to do. So thank you very much. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Self-Storage Quick Start Academy. What I do is I have online courses, both paid for and free, that support the small investor in getting in this fantastic business or growing strategically in this fantastic business. I love the self-storage business. There is no better business for the small investor. It's just changing fast. This industry is evolving, and we've got to operate and put property in service in a very strategic way. So thank you very much. I look forward to being with you next week, and I'll see you then.